They are on a mission to awaken the spiritual bharas that you're born with. So let's meet this awesome couple. और couple से पहले मैं आपको मिलवाऊंगी राखी ओसवाल. So the Oswals. And we'll first meet Rakhi Oswal. आज हम जानेंगे partnership के ऊपर. What is the success? What is a successful relationship? How do you, she and Adish, they're both doing awesome work. They're taking workshops all across the globe and they're transforming lives. जहाँ लोग ये बोलते हैं कि अलग हो जाओ, डिवोर्स ले लो, यहाँ ये लोग हैं जो कहते हैं अपने अंदर झांको. And let's work on building the relationship. Welcome, Rakhi. Good evening, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks, Ina. Thanks for having me over. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Who is Rakhi Oswal, and how did you get into this? What were you as a child? Who were you as a child?
Right. So, growing up in a small city of India, I was very fortunate to have parents who brought me up in a very unapologetic way. I think I learned my lessons of unconditional love. I was free to make my own choices and my opinions were respected. So really raised with a lot of love, care, and I would say a sense of freedom. But what happens is as you grow up, life kind of tends to get a bit complicated. And when you start going through life's transitions, when you get married, you become a wife, you become a mother, and all those new roles that you start playing. So all those, the life transitions probably got the better of me. And I'm like, okay, we didn't really come prepared with this. Yeah, you go through a training to be a doctor, you go through a training to be an engineer and all sorts of fields, but you don't really get a training for life as to what life will really show up for you. So along this path, some complications came in and I sort of lost my mental peace. And, I really went into a dark phase in my life. So there was lack of harmony. There was deep business struggle. And in fact, we even had the sad demise of our first child. So basically we were suffering at every end. So I wanted to put an end to the suffering and just guided purely by my intuition. I wanted to break free. I purely got guided that this is time for me to spend some time alone and really discover myself, who I am, why am I here? Why am I suffering? What is this key to peace and fulfillment in life? So without thinking twice, I spoke to my husband Adish, and he was very cooperative and supportive to allow me to pursue what I wanted to pursue. So I booked a ticket to Mumbai. I wanted to go on a retreat with myself. This is almost about 10 years ago. And I took a journey for yoga, dance, meditation, cooking, just being with myself. And I had 2 little children as well. But I said, look, if I can't take care of myself, then I'm going to be of no good to anybody else. So that, Hina, was really my intuition, my destiny guiding me, because it led me to a spiritual awakening. Until then, I did not even understand the meaning of spirituality, but certain things happened, and that was probably my calling to spirituality. And when I tasted that bliss, that sense of happiness and freedom, I became obsessed with personal development. I came back and I shared with my husband, and in no time, both of us, we were together on a journey of search, of inner discovery. And that is when our personal development journey started.
Tell me, how did you guys meet and when did you guys meet?
All right. So this is, we're high school sweethearts, both of us. Yes. So I was in grade 12 and he had passed out from school. We were friends while we were in school, but we never had a sort of an affinity towards each other in a loving way, so to say. But it so happened that we met again in life next year, and we became friends initially. Maybe it was just a plan of the universe to make us meet randomly. And I was, like I said, my whole upbringing was very modern. Back in those years, my upbringing was very modern. I was allowed to speak my mind. So I was this real outgoing and extrovert and, that sort of a girl. And a lot of times I was very tomboyish as well. And Adish was an absolute contrast to my personality. You know, one of those typical boys you have in school, very introvert, a bit shy, not very comfortable talking to girls. And here I am, this, you know, girl in school who wants to try everything, do all the badmashi, be in the wrong books of teachers and all of that. So, but for some reason, you know, opposites attract. He got attracted. And so in that process of 2 months of our friendship, he discovered me more, and he realized that this outer is different from the inner side. Inside, she's a very loving and a very compassionate person. She enjoys Jagjit Singh, ghazals. Oh my goodness, you know, he wouldn't have thought of that. So, and I think I found such a genuine man in him. You know, he was so respectful towards women, and he still is. Someone who's very, very committed, very loyal, and I was looking for a man like that in my life. And before we knew, we were so attracted to each other in a loving way, and our relationship started. So we were dating for 4 years before we got engaged.
Wow. So, you know, now that we know this charming, respectful, very nice, you know, and a genuine man, let's call him and let's invite him. You don't look like, you know, somebody who's introvert. I've been through your videos and you guys look actually bhadas couple, you know, who are there to transform lives and bring, you know, and get the best out of everybody, whether they are kids, whether they are individuals. So I want to ask you, you know, who's Adish? And she told me about you, but how did she transform you, or you transformed your life?
So, you know, it's like, I think last couple of years, it's been like a reincarnation in the same life. Usually people reincarnate in new lifetime, but it's in the same life. I think God has been so kind, and you know, it's unveiling your own self. Unlocking your own self. That has been the biggest gift in the entire journey, being together while you know, last more than now 20 years of our life, to be honest. So, as you know, Hina, I come from a business family. It's more than 7-decade-old family legacy business. So, you know, I've lived in a very large joint family house. You know, we used to call our family home like a mini Rashtrapati Bhavan with like 55 rooms all put together. You know, with my grandfather, my uncles, of course, my parents, and all my cousins all put together. So I had an amazing, diversified childhood, basically. And of course, you know, being the eldest son of the family, I had great love of my mother, a lot of attention in terms of discipline. So I think by virtue of that discipline, I was, you know, quite focused in my life, you know, in the initial years, and never had so much chance to you know, express myself because I had so much within my family itself. So I went to boarding in Delhi in grade 5, and that was a time where in Punjab, if you know, the Blue Star days were there in late 80s and 90s. So I had a family thread, and I was one of the youngest boarder in my school in Delhi, the Air Force School, Subrata Park, which is called TAFs, in fact. And so I was there for 4 years, then came back to Ludhiana, and then met this amazing pretty girl, Rakhi, you know, in my high school. So, you know, in fact, it was, you know, the first love. Of course, you have various infatuations in life where you have these flings and stuff, but it's the first love. And, you know, so as she told you, how did we start all put together? You know, so ever since, you know, I think there has been a lot of hunger. You know, I, in my life, always wanted to do something on my own in life, to be very honest. You know, there was a huge pressure of the Oswal clan on myself, but I always wanted to make Adish bigger than Oswal, to be very honest. And that's why I have done a lot of things on my own in my life in early days. And while doing that, I have met so many people. I've gone through so many training programs and so many, you know, seminars and conferences in good old days and so on and so forth. So I have been totally into it, but never, you know, found a particular me in it. In it. It was just varied of knowledge coming in, a lot of information coming in, but not exactly what I could create myself and then keep on evolving on it. Basically, keep on building the ladder on it, you know. How do you say that? So that happened, you know, I don't know if Rakhi told you, but, you know, we lost our first child in 2008, and then we came back to Ludhiana from New Delhi. and the whole business was in different stress altogether. That was a real point of evolution, because there was so much of, I would say, emotional, what do you call, pressure. I mean, a complete new space, a complete new space. I would say emotional lockdown, where you are crippled holistically, right from your father who's not doing so well in business. You lost your child. You've closed your own business in retail. You've lost a large amount of money as a family equity, and you've came back. So you can imagine like a holistic 360-degree kind of, like a self-pressure, because it was your own decision to branch out, and you've come back. So it was emotional, financial, business, family, all put together.
Not mine.
So, she's been there throughout with me through all the thick and thins, to be honest. So the most important thing, I think, one quality, which I learned from my grandfather was to never give up, and I think that one thing has pushed me. You need these small little hooks in life. You don't need those big jargons or big books to get you where you are today. These small little things. So this one hook of not to give up, no matter what, I think has pushed me all this while in last 12 years. So if I'll start my real journey as a man, it was since 2008, right? So since 2008, every year I've been pushing limits. I mean, today, I demand from the universe, I demand from divine that what's new for me? What's the new challenge? So the man today you see in front of you in this camera is a man who loves challenges. I don't fear, I fear kind of a thing, That's the kind of, in zone I am in my life. So I think that's how it is as of today. So this man is today very extrovert, of course.
Very extrovert. I see that in your energy, and I see that spiritual bharas even on the screen here. and I'm so glad I'm doing this, and I've met you both. Coming from a family, like you said, is a joint family, how did your parents take this up? And you said that you want to make a separate individual name.
So, yes, it was a tough one. But I think I had an amazing blessing of my father. He has always, in fact, let me tell you, I was in grade 5 when I went to the Air Force School. And when I used to come back to Ludhiana, and he used to send me to these public speaking classes way back. So you can imagine I'm talking about what year, 1990, 1999, 1998, 89, and so he was also, because he was the youngest child in his family, in his, siblings. So he always wanted his son to, outshine. He always wanted me to be very extrovert, though of course, till while I was very introvert, because that was my original DNA, but then he always exposed me to new things. So one day, post college, I was in Delhi, Sheikh Bhagat Singh College in South Campus. I did my commerce graduate from there. So, I did various stints in various activities. One day I said, look, Papa, I don't want to come back to family business, to begin with. I want to do something on my own. So, he never resisted beyond a point. Of course, there was some resistance, because every father has his dream and desire that my younger son will come one day and take reins and do training with me and go through a structure, go through the entire process. But at the same time, let me tell you, I've been part of the Family Business Inc. with CII, who it was started by Mr. M.V. Subaiya of the Murugappa Group in Chennai. CII started a chapter of family business way back in 96. So I was 16 years old at that point of time. And I used to go to all these conferences, all these seminars, where these old families of India who are in the fifth generation, how the family operates, how the next generation is given the opportunity to move forward. So I used to come back and share all these modern concepts, in my traditional family, because at that point of time, Ludhiana still was a very small town, very conservative, though, we talk about Punjabis, but Ludhiana still was very close-knit altogether. So in 1999, I told my father, look, I want to start something on my own. There was of course few discussions, but then he never, disrespected my desire. He inspired me. I formed a new company and I moved on. So that was a small garment factory where I started my own brand. And then eventually it went into retail business, where we had a very unique concept across the country. The all-women intimate wear store, the lingerie store, which was earlier called Sensa, then it was named as Straps altogether. And then so that was it. I never found that resistance. My father was there to support me, of course. So it was great. It was great. I would say I'm truly blessed from that perspective.
Wow. I think it is, when you get parents' support, it makes a lot of difference. And I think you kind of accomplish what you want to. You kind of get that extra push and extra support. Now coming to my next question, was parenting a conscious decision for you both? Like when you, since you were sweethearts, you met and you got married, and you were young, both of you when you got married. So was parenting always a conscious? Because a lot of times kids just happen, you just don't think consciously. But today you are both practicing conscious parenting, like what I see, and you're also teaching the kids, how to connect to themselves. So how did you get into this spiritual gym that you do it, and how did you form this? So I get two questions. One is, was parenting a very conscious decision, and second, how did you do this program that you do?
Let me answer the first part of it.
Okay, sure.
The parenting was not so conscious, but of course we knew that after marriage, we have to give some time, because we had got the legal permission to roam around as sweethearts and to, travel wherever we want and do all that stuff. And of course, I was working in Delhi, so I think we had a good time off. We got married in 2004. We had our first child in 2008, so I think it was not that big a gap, but it was pretty conscious, to be very honest. Nothing that we resisted. In fact, we had our names much before we got married of our children and stuff. So I think just for one, of course, so I think we always wanted to have kids, but then of course not so soon. But then so when it happened, it was an amazing pleasure. No regrets, and that's all. We'll go to the second one.
Yeah, I honestly, to be very honest here, so right after getting married, we moved to Delhi, and we were both very enterprising. So while he was in retail business, I wanted to be enterprising too. So I joined him in his business, and we were working together. So when I discovered that I was carrying a baby, we were actually initially shocked. I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to work, I really want to do something. I don't think I'm kind of ready for it. We were kind of surprised, to be very honest. Initially, we were still establishing ourselves, but when the child happens, when you really become parents, it's a feeling which is unparalleled. I think every parent can relate with that. It's an unparalleled feeling. And I think having lost our child very early, it shifted my journey altogether. The only thing I wanted to do after that was to become a mom, to fill that vacuum of my life. And there was nothing else that I was thinking of. And I was very, very fortunate. God gifted me not just with one, but two precious children, who really brought so much of joy and beauty into my life. What it was to be a parent, I understood. And so over the years of this whole conscious journey of personal development, there comes a time when you realize your life's purpose. Because when those layers of thought and clutter on your mind, when they start disappearing, you become very clear about your life's purpose. That starts speaking, that little voice which was a whisper before, it becomes very clear. And I felt my calling, that I was made to heal. Maybe I was made to coach others, and I always felt this whole feeling to give back right from my early childhood days. I always had that feeling. Even if I had two things with me, I would give it to somebody if they asked for me. Even if they said, okay, we like it, I would just happily give it to them. So I always knew that I had that spiritual inclination somewhere within me. So when I decided that yes, I want to be a coach, I want to, what I have discovered, I want to pass it on and share. I wanted to first give it to children. Again, I would say purely my intuition, my inner calling, because I felt that what we learned in adulthood, if these kids, they get conditioned at an early age with that sort of an understanding about life, their life will be so much simpler. They will be able to understand the importance of a character which has forgiveness in it, which has gratitude, empathy, compassion. I mean, look at the world. This is what we want, right? World does not just need money and progress. These are the characters that you want. So I think simply guided by that, I decided that I wanted to do something first for the children. And then from nowhere, this name popped up, Spiritual Gym for Kids. It simply means that the idea, the philosophy is that children go to school to exercise their mental muscle. They go to, maybe they do a physical workout to exercise their physical muscle, and they come to spiritual gym to exercise their spiritual and emotional muscle. So that is why Spiritual Gym started.
I totally love the concept, Rakhi. I mean, I totally love what you're doing. And I must say, and I must compliment you both, that, today, even, when parents lose a child, they don't accept it. They don't talk about it. They don't, probably they deny, they are living in denial. But the fact that you're acknowledging, you're talking, also says a lot about you, that you've healed yourself and you are healing yourself. And that's where, your transformation with people also started. I must, it is commendable, and I'm really...
Thank you.
Yes, so
Thank you.
Great work. Now you're also doing a lot of work with couples. I would say that because as a couple, I would see a lot of people doing it, and I'm being very candid enough that I only see ladies in this genre or single men. I hardly see couples in couple relationships. When they're doing a partner workshop, you will only see a lady doing it, or you will only see a man doing it. I hardly seen a couple taking a workshop for the couples, working on themselves and working with others. How did that come? How did you guys come up with this thing? Let's do a couple workshop, and on partnership, on telling them, this is, because I see your Instagram flooded with those tips, and they're amazing tips.
Yeah. So as far as relationships is concerned, we realized through two things. One was life's own experience as to what we went through, that no matter what, no matter even if you've known each other for the longest time, like ours was 4 years of being in love before we got married, and yet it was so difficult to keep our marriage stable because so many external factors start playing up on your relationship. So I think when we shifted our entire equation with each other, everything started to fall in place. I mean, trust me, the most important relationship that you need to really protect and safeguard is actually with your spouse. It comes before your children. It honestly, after marriage, it just comes before any other relationship. I mean, of course, your own relationship with yourself, but after that, it is really with your spouse. And that becomes a playground for you to become successful in every area of your life. Like, in the morning, he can leave as a lion. When he leaves home, he leaves as a lion for work, because he's not carrying an emotional baggage. That's his power, that's his strength. And likewise, it's mine. I don't fear I have to hide something from him. Now, when you start feeling that sense of freedom, like, we're purely human. So if there is a beautiful woman passing by or at a party, if we are traveling and if he's checking out, I'm like, she is really cool and we want to check her out. So I have that same sort of an attitude towards him, that, we are friends and, we're purely humans. So when you make it light on yourself, it just becomes so much fun, And I think it's purely by that experience and intuition that we felt that we want to share this with so many more couples, that they can easily work on their relationship. We don't need to give up on our relationship so quickly. I mean, when we see others, and this is not from a point of judgment, but when we see people suffering, because when you look at them, you can see that there is a different reality, a suffering behind in their real life. We actually feel a lot of empathy and pain, that, oh my God, we can help. Oh my God, we can help them. We found the secret. There is a secret sauce. You can't, when you realize there is a secret sauce, your consciousness does not allow you to hold it just to yourself. It's like a rose flower that wants to spread the fragrance. So just purely by that force, we got inspired to do this. And Adish, I'd let you answer the second she asked.
Adish, I want to ask you that what were the challenges that you both went through? So I think you need to answer me.
I think a lot, I think, typically, it's like when a man or a woman is born, you have to fall before you start learning to walk. You have to get a wound before you start learning how to ride a bicycle. You have to drown before you how to learn to swim. So our relationship is not unique from that perspective. We have gone through all those issues and struggles as well. But the issue is that, with the same thing that we've stuck together, because we believe in love. It's not to give up. It's very easy to change your job, change your wife. These days, like it's become a fashion, change your girlfriend or change your house. But who's going to change yourself? Changing yourself, mastering yourself is the most important thing. You may change everything around you, but if you don't change your goddamn self, you're still stuck. I mean, how pity is that? So at the end of the day, I think, I don't like to live in any more shadow. I believe in substance. And, we are very today, I think initially it was a lot of challenge because, unlike typical everybody, a lot of women have these coffee kitties and these lunch kitties and stuff, blah, 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 all that. Nothing against them. It's their choice of life. Everybody has their choice of life and the way to live is absolutely fine. But me and Rakhi never had that. I think we always believe in more meaningful oriented relationships, friendships, and everything around us. And to be very honest, between us today, I would not say initially, but today, where we are today, we can talk about anybody and anyone, including our parents, whether hers or mine, very candidly, and none of us take offense of that. That's the beauty of constant evolution. See, it's a painful process. I would not say it's only hunky-dory, it's like gaga kind of a thing. Not at all. There are tears, there are fights, there are issues, there are struggles. But then at the end of the day, it's that process. There is no shortcut to the process. Yes, the only shortcut is, as Rakhi said, if at at your adolescence age, at a preteen or at the age of 8, 9, 10 or 11, 12, if you are able to put children into this journey where they understand themselves, where they understand the life pattern, human patterns, the hormonal changes, the psychological changes, that's what's important. So today, I'm at 40, what I'm telling you, if a child has gone through that process, probably with her, maybe he will talk the same thing at 21 or 25. That's how it is.
Absolutely. I totally believe you. When you hear so many stories on mental health, when, the children who are taking their lives, they're ending their lives, I think it hurts somewhere because I think we need somewhere, and we need to start from early age. We need to start from now. We need to start from the toddler age where we need to teach them and we need to tell them. Now, some tips for the couples, I know self-work is important, but as couples, probably one tip from Adish and one tip from Rakhi. What is it that you would want to tell the couples?
So I think if I have to tell the men one thing, keep doing what you were doing at the beginning of your relationship. Keep doing those small things, a gesture. No matter whether she responds or don't. You do it because your heart wants to. You do it because you want to do it. Don't expect in return. She will probably one day understand. We all go through that, aging or maturity or work life or all those things. We have more relationships after marriage. We have the mother-in-laws, we have the sister-in-laws, we have a lot of all those stuff happening which were not there before the marriage. Before you were just, like a amazing boyfriend and a girlfriend, which is you two hanging out together. So there are more people hanging out now. So the one tip which I'll give is keep doing what you were doing in the beginning of your relationship. Your relationship will never have that kind of, complacency or kind of that, slowness or that, mundane effect. It always be bright, always be bright. That's how it has to be.
Rakhi.
And he walks the talk. He really walks that talk all the time. Yes, he does that. He surprises me with gestures and, even be very careful about putting a lot of candles when we're having our date night. Always do that. He makes it
How
special.
old are your children between? How old are your children now?
So our son, he's almost 11 and our daughter almost 10.
And they do understand, obviously, the date night concepts, and you've told them that this is what we're doing.
Yeah. They actually exploit us. All right, you guys have a date night. It's our friends' night, or it's our nani house night, and they actually look forward to it. That hame chutkara milega, hum bhi jayenge. So they're like, go.
Last tip from you, Rakhi, for the ladies. Where do you think they lag behind? Where do you think they should practice? What one thing that can help them keep the relationship alive?
I think giving a lot of space in the relationship and having trust. So it's very important to understand that men and women are wired differently. Their tendencies, their responses, their behaviors are not meant to be identical. So maybe we women may be great at remembering special events and special dates, but a man's brain is not wired that way, you know. So you need to understand to give him a lot of space. For instance, if a man comes back at the end of the day from work, you know, when he comes back home, a lot of women have a tendency to not even waste a minute and start talking about, oh my God, this happened in the day, that happened in the day, you know, my kids really bothered me, gosh, I have to get this organized, you know, how we just start ranting about everything without realizing that he's just come home. He needs to switch off from work and then switch on and be ready for you. So just a few ways where you can remember to keep giving space in the relationship so that it does not suffocate him at any point of time. Because if a man reaches that point, that is when it starts bringing disloyalty in the relationship. You know, those little lies start popping up. Maybe he goes for a boys' dinner and he doesn't want to tell her because she's going to call and keep checking, where are you at this hour? Who are you with? And all that. I think that is very bugging. I don't remember even a single time we've had that sort of an incident between the two of us. And likewise, this is not only from a woman going to a man. I mean, it has to be reciprocated. It has to be a two-way thing. So I think space and trust, a man really, really values that. Yeah, he really values that.
And I think I would vouch.
I don't want to end this conversation because I think I can go on and on with you guys.
Please, here is vouching.
Yes, please vouch. You have to, yes.
I'm saying I totally vouch for that. I think I've got abundance of space from Rakhi. I think I tell her that, you know, I mean, it's beyond friendship, to be honest. I think that one trick can make a huge magical difference. Huge magical difference, basically. Just truly blessing. Truly blessed.
Yes, and I think touchwood, I think be blessed and keep transforming lives. Keep, awakening people's spiritual bharas. I love that name. I love what your mission is, and thank you so much, guys, for being here.
Thank you.
Positivity, for spreading so much of love, and thank you so much.
Thank
Pleasure.
you.
Thanks
for having us over.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you.